So my wife was diagnosed with lung cancer 2.5 years ago. She was diagnosed with stage 4, which is the last stage and a very poor prognosis. So we immediately started looking at various treatment options and found out there was basically very limited availability of treatments. Nobody knows how to cure this disease, and nobody even knows how to prolong survival very much.
Cancer kills over 1.25 million people each year in the European Union. That's 1 in 4 of all deaths. Important advances have been made in cancer therapy, yet all patients still don't have equal access to high-quality cancer care, and the costs of treatment are rising faster than health systems can keep up with. Many existing drugs that are already widely used for non-cancer diseases have shown great promise as cancer treatments. Tapping into their potential and re-innovating them into new treatments, called drug repurposing, could provide patients with new treatment options relatively quickly and cheaply.
The remarkable thing we know about cancer now is we've started to really understand the weaknesses of cancer cells. And those are very specific targets within cancer cells and within the environment that surrounds the cancer cells. And for those, you need very specific drugs which target those weaknesses. And what's remarkable, of course, is many drugs have been developed not for cancer, but for other diseases which have the same weaknesses. And by taking those drugs from that area and applying them in cancer patients, we actually have drugs which have already been very well developed and shown to be very safe and very tolerable, and they can actually be applied very effectively within cancer patients. We now know there are at least 130 to 150 potential new drugs that could be possibly used in cancer patients, which have already been very well developed.
Conventionally, it takes 10 years or more and around 2.5 billion euros to develop a new cancer medicine. In contrast, repurposing may only take around 6 years and cost around 300 million euros or less. New cancer treatments can cost over 100,000 euros per year, whereas repurposed medicines may cost as little as 10 to 1,000 euros per year per patient.
What is needed is to perform the clinical trials so that these drugs can reach patients. And today there is not sufficient allocation of research funds to perform those trials.
Because of the issues around patents here, there's very little money to be made from a private sector perspective.
If only probably minor changes are done, it could bring massive benefits to patients, and it could bring massive savings to government budgets.
There's no doubt we really need to rethink a lot of our cancer drug development to find alternative, more cost-effective ways of bringing new cancer medicines to patients. But it requires a system change and alignment to recognise that repurposing research needs to sit side by side with new cancer drug development. The public has the impression that new is always better, and they need to recognise that really with repurposed drugs, of course, this is also using an existing medicine in a new way. So this has equal merit.
The Anticancer Fund recommends 4 ways that policymakers could help make repurposed drugs available to cancer patients. Adapt regulatory pathways for adding new indications to existing labels so that non-commercial parties can take action. Increase funding and create novel finance systems for non-commercial research. Support patient recruitment into non-commercial clinical trials. Promote knowledge sharing and establish centers of excellence to perform horizon scanning.
Today in the drug repurposing, there is an enormous potential. It's a massive opportunity for our politicians and leaders to grasp this by making sure there is sufficient research budget allocation to this opportunity, so that there are financial incentives, so that there is funding for doing the research that needs to be done on these repurposed drugs, so they can finally benefit patients.